I'm up on college. You're crushing me right now in the NFL.
It's crazy for you to say you're up on college because I've been up all year and then I blew it last week.
Well, I was up
picks
on both at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean for like 2
and I just
weeks.
said that I am up right now.
I know.
Anyway, so kicking it off, we're going to jump straight into it with the NFL games. The first game we're going to look into is the Raiders at Kansas City. It is a Good Friday game, 3 o'clock game. Last year on Christmas, this was an interesting game with the Raiders upsetting the Chiefs. Chiefs almost blew it to the Panthers, but of course they didn't because they always find a way to win. Minshew's out for the year with a broken collarbone, which he's kind of been up and down, but still, I feel like that's a big move. I mean, yeah, it's a division game. Anything can happen. Maybe Max Crosby comes in and wrecks it, but yeah. I love the Chiefs in this one. I feel like it's pretty clear. They just keep finding ways to win.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Max Crosby, always gives the Chiefs a little trouble, I feel like. I feel like Patrick Mahomes does not like playing against Max Crosby.
No, dude, he is.
Not at all.
Little boy getting in his head.
Yeah, so, I think the Chiefs probably win, but, if Max can get after him, we'll see. All right, next pick. Oh, yeah, come on. Looking at the slate, I got to go Lions over Bears. The Lions are at home. The Lions play on Thanksgiving every year. It used to be like, dude, I got to watch the Lions on Thanksgiving. But now it's like, I get to watch the Lions on Thanksgiving. Let's go. Excited about that. So I got the Lions in that one.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I mean, still, even with that, the Lions have been hot lately, but they still haven't won on Thanksgiving since 2016, and they're only 4 of 16 in the last 2 decades. Ooh. So I think it's time to flip the curse there.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I mean, it shouldn't matter. It's a division game. Shouldn't. They look way better than the Bears. The biggest things for me in this game is the Bears offense versus the Lions defense. Lions defense, despite the injuries, have been looking really good. Anyone who's been listening to us for a little bit know that we're not crazy about Caleb Williams. Not his biggest fans, per se.
Nope.
I was trying to remove a little bit of the bias and give somewhat of an objective look at him. And I think, dude, I mean, talent-wise, obviously he's really good. We never really questioned that. He can make throws. He can make run. He's elusive. But it just seems like the game has not slowed down at all for him. If you look at most of his sacks, he just holds on the ball way too long. Yep. He starts to make a read and then I don't know, loses it, makes a terrible read. And
I think he just still feels like it's college where he can kind of take over a game just out of pure athleticism. But I think those days are past. He does have a play every now and then that's like, wow, that was impressive. But the decision-making doesn't seem to be there quite yet. And the Bears are the only team in that division with a losing record, and they have some pretty top tier talent. So,
dude, they've got a really good defense. Both of them have good defenses. If you look at just stats, the Bears defense it's a little bit better than middle of the road, but it's held back stat wise because of how bad the offense has been at times. If you just look at them play, they are incredibly good defense. Incredible defense, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the thing. I was like, it just seems like the game doesn't slow down for him yet, which it might. But also, if you look at Bo Nix or someone like that, they're getting a much better scheme that I think just makes it simple for him. Jaden Daniels, same thing. It slows it down, makes it simple for him. And so there has been some progression with, the new OC stuff in Chicago. But I don't know. That's my thought. Anyway, I agree with you. Lions. I think it's a good pick.
Speaking of Bo Nix, I'm going with the Bills over the 49ers. Not speaking of Bo Nix. The 49ers are still banged up, man. Purdy's not playing this week, right?
He's questionable. The report was he looked good throwing, but I mean, they said that last week and then he was out, so I don't know.
The Niners need this. The Niners need pretty much every week from here on out, but they're just so banged up, man. And going against the Bills on the road, that's a tough matchup, so I'll take the Bills in that one.
Dude, I agree. I mean, just the injuries for the Niners. I just saw this too. Fred Warner, who I knew he was banged up, but I thought he was somewhat on the healthy side of things, has been playing on a fractured ankle since week 4.
Fractured ankle.
So
do we know what part of his ankle?
No, I didn't. I just saw the headline and briefly looked into it, so I need to look.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that.
More.
That's wild.
But yeah, so they're banged up. They can't really catch a break anywhere. it's interesting because so much of it I think comes down to what Niners team shows up. And even if you look at stats between the Bills and the Niners, like yards per game, dude, this is interesting. The breakdown of run or like run and pass, it's 40.6% run for the Niners and 40.7% run for the Bills. So they're like super similar teams. The difference is the key third downs, the fourth quarters, and the red zone offense.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, man, they're just so close. And then the Bills are getting it done. The Niners aren't getting it done. And the last thing I'll say about the Niners, though, is I'm seeing so many people talk about how it's time to get rid of Shanahan and rebuild if you're the Niners. In what world do you lose an overtime Super Bowl? You're in the NFC Championship 4 out of the last 5 years. You're 5-6, and it's time for a rebuild? Clear house rebuild?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like maybe something in the training staff. There shouldn't be that many injuries.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you just have bad luck. But there are a lot of injuries. And I feel like the Niners, even last year, had a lot of injuries as well.
Yeah, and they're a physical team that comes with it. But still, anyway.
Yeah, clearing house? No, that's wild.
It's ridiculous. But
madness.
I'm with you. I think at this point, I'm not saying the Niners aren't going to get it done because obviously if Bosa's back, if Trent Williams is back this week, if Purdy's playing, they can do it. They can play with anyone. They're not that far removed from last year's team, but they just have to prove it. The Bills are consistently protecting the ball, scoring, all of the important things. So I'm riding with the Bills too, unfortunately. Well, I'm riding with the Niners. My money would be on the Bills.
Right. Who you got?
My pick now.
You're up.
Let's see. Hate to do this to you. We got the Dolphins going up to Lambeau. The first question is, can the Dolphins play in the cold? If you look at the Dolphins without Tua again, they look like a completely different team. They're back. They've scored 34 points the last 2 weeks. I mean, the Dolphins are back. But then the question is, the Dolphins being back, does that mean they're back to beating bad teams at home and we don't want to bet on them on the road against a good team? Maybe. The questions that I have going into this game are, how does the Packers run game look against the Dolphins run defense? The Dolphins are still a top 10 run defense. They're not, I don't think, as dominant as they were with Christian Wilkins. Obviously, you lose someone like that makes a big difference. The Packers, you add Josh Jacobs, they're running the ball really, really well. They're averaging over 150 yards a game on the ground. So in the cold, that's going to be a huge factor. I think that if the Packers can keep it on the ground, they keep running, the Dolphins aren't stopping them as much. I love the Packers in this game. If you can force Jordan Love to try to be a hero, he's going to make some dumb decisions, I think. And that's the best shot. But yeah,
good.
In Lambeau,
I'm glad you did that.
I'm taking the Packers.
The thing that does scare me, I haven't looked at the weather for that weekend.
It's in
I
the
kind of want to
30s,
stay away
40s,
from this
I think.
game. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are not known to play well in the cold. So that's, but I'm glad I get to pull for the Dolphins. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I don't, I'll pull for the Dolphins in that one. So, yeah, you get to pull for the Niners. I get to pull for the Dolphins. That's fair.
It's fair.
Totally fair. But yeah, it does scare me that it's going to be in the cold. I think if this was in Miami, I would probably take Dolphins. But at Lambeau, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That one's at, that's night game Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, the 8:20 game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's big time. I'm excited to watch that one.
I'm excited for a lot of these games.
The Dolphins games in the middle of the season when they lost Tua, I just was like, I don't even want to watch this. But now we're back. They're on the come up again. Looking good.
All right. The Monday game. I have botched, I think, every single Cleveland pick that I've had this year.
Yeah, you have.
But
pick them again.
I think I have a trend now. I picked against them, the Ravens. Then they won a hard-fought divisional game and then got smacked by an AFC West team. Then picked them against the Steelers, or picked the Steelers against them. They won a hard-fought divisional game. Are they going to get smacked by the AFC West again? That's the question. Jameis is all over the place. That's tough to pick, because if you could just give me like a couple stats to have an idea of what kind of game that he had, it's a different story. Going in, is he going to be the Jameis that makes good decisions or the Jameis that doesn't? Obviously, we can't tell that. Bo Nix has been looking pretty good. He's been throwing in rhythm, and I feel like that's been making a big difference. It seems like there are easy reads, getting the ball out in time, all of the good stuff from that side of things. from Sean Payton. I hate to compliment him, but unfortunately, he's a good coach. So I do think that the Browns are a good 3-win team. These are two good defenses. I think that if Myles Garrett can start wreaking havoc on Bo Nix, there can be some problems. Because if you look at his passer rating with a clean pocket, he's at a little over 100. But with the under pressure, he's at 55.9. So that's a big difference. So obviously, Myles Garrett is a game changer in that aspect. I'm curious to see if they could get any ground game going against the Browns to help out that way. This game feels a little bit like a toss-up, but from what I've seen this year, the consistency from the Broncos gives me more confidence picking them than the hope that Jameis Winston puts together a really good game and going Browns. So, pick is Broncos.
Like that as well. That's probably a good pick there. Yeah, kind of with you on that. But, the Browns, they always just pop up randomly and are doing good stuff. So
I know, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I've botched every one of them, but maybe that is the pattern. Win AFC North, lose AFC West. Win AFC North, lose AFC West.
Could be the pattern there. Man, do I want to go back into this division? I don't know that I want to do that one. I might just leave that one for you.
I don't like the sound of that.
Let's look at the Giants Cowboys. The Giants are just kind of in disarray right now, man. Like, they cut Daniel Jones after paying him money, in which that amount of money they gave him was why they couldn't keep Saquon Barkley, and now Barkley's looking like an MVP. So, I mean, the Cowboys aren't doing great either, but shoot, at this point, give me the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys on this one. I just don't think the Giants are going to pull it back together, man. They've had too much foolishness happen this year.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback situation, Cooper Rush is the tried and true tested quarterback in this game. I mean, from the Giants, you're getting maybe Drew Lock, maybe Tommy DeVito, probably Tommy DeVito, but who knows. Malik Neighbors looks like he's a little... Honestly, I don't hate it. He came out, I don't know if you saw what he said after last week. He was upset that he didn't get any targets in the first half. I think it was like 30-0 before he got his first target. And basically it was like, I mean, like how, like I want to make a difference in the game. How can I do anything like that? And I think he came out later and said that he regretted saying, or like how he said it, but not what he was saying. Like the sentiment stands. And I agree.
That's
and I
fair.
love something like that. I'm like, yeah, the Giants, they've got some talent. Dexter Lawrence is questionable, which that's a big difference too. It's a little bit of an oversimplification, but I think a lot of this comes down to CeeDee Lamb versus Malik Neighbors. Like either one of those receivers, I think could take over this game.
Yeah.
But the tested one is CeeDee Lamb. And so I would lean Dallas. The last thing that I have on this though is the Cowboys have been down bad and then Washington handed them a gift. But out of every single major sport of the 4 major sport franchises, every single one of them, except for one, has won a home game in 2024. And that one team, the Dallas Cowboys. They are the only NHL, only NBA, only NFL team, and only MLB team that has not won a home game in 2024.
They haven't won a
lot of this dates
game.
back. Nope, because it dates back towards the end of last season, and they didn't win a single home game in any of those, not excluding preseason, like an actual game. So that makes me a little bit nervous, but little faith in either team, but less faith in the Giants. So I would go with the Cowboys.
That shouldn't make you nervous. That should make me nervous because I just picked them.
That's true. You're the one who picked it for our draft pool.
I mean, they were playing the Giants though. Like, honestly, if I'm the Giants, I'm probably tanking on purpose at this point. Who knows? But like, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'm probably tanking because you need somebody. All right, we got 2 games left. Man.
I really want one and I really don't want one.
Hey, you know what? I might even... Nah, I'm going to pick one. You want the Chargers Falcons games, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the one I'll take since you want it. Um,
Fair. I'd do the same.
I think this game could go either way, but I assume that you're probably also leaning towards the Chargers. That's where I'm gonna go. I'm taking the Chargers. They're looking good, man. They lost to the Ravens. The Ravens are a really good team, but I do think the Chargers are better than the Falcons when it's all said and done. They're on the come up. The Falcons had that like little spurt at the beginning of the season where they started to look really good, but something's just going on that it's not all clicking there. So I think the Chargers get it done in Atlanta.
Yeah, I love that pick. On one hand, the one thing that makes me nervous about this is obviously the Chargers just played on Monday night, and then the Falcons are coming off a bye. So there's a huge rest advantage going at, for Atlanta's side of things. The Chargers, well, okay, first off, Quentin Johnston, catch the football. I don't want to be harsh like that.
5 drops?
It was like 4 targets, 3 drops, I think. He dropped one. Next possession, Herbert comes back, hits him again. He drops it. Herbert immediately feeds him the next play, drops it too. That's tough. But it doesn't seem like there was any tension in the locker room. Like Herbert was like, no, he's been making plays. We need him. I need to put a better ball for him, which he put in perfect pass. So good job as a quarterback, but whatever. Beside that, they've been protecting the ball. They've got 5 turnovers this year. They started out 1-3, hit a rhythm, only losing this Baltimore game since then. On the other side of things, at first I was looking at the Atlanta offense and I was like, man, they're just like so good at times, but they're really inconsistent. Like which team's going to show up? Started looking more. In their 6 wins, they're averaging 30 points per game. In their 5 losses, they're averaging 12.8 points per game. So I was like, that just adds to the defense or like to the discrepancy. But then I looked at it a little bit more, and there's a massive discrepancy in the quality of defense they've been playing. The only good defense they've played was the game against the Eagles, where they won 22-21. Like all of you're looking at like the Panthers, the Saints, like all of these other defenses. So the Chargers defense, I think, is the best that they're going to face all year or have faced to this point. And if they're already struggling against the decent defenses, then I love the Chargers in this. They're protecting the ball, they're playing well, and they've got a good defense. So that's why I think it's a really good pick.
Thanks for explaining my analysis there. That's what I wanted to say. I just didn't get it all out,
Well, you said it better than me. I just rambled.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh my!
That's the duality of man. The duality of the Atlanta Falcons. It's kind of where we're at.
That is the duality of man. I like that.
Duality.
Man. Okay. This game is the game I'm most excited to watch and the game that I was dreading most likely ending up pitch.
I have an idea of who I think is going to win.
So I'm glad you do.
wondering if it's going to line up.
I'm glad you have an idea because I could see this going a few different ways. I think both teams show out and it's an incredible game. Yep. I think scenario 2, the Eagles play lights out and the Ravens continue to attack themselves with the self-inflicted penalties, missed opportunities. Philly runs away with it. Also, scenario number 3, Jalen Hurts has an off day because he's so streaky this year. Right. And then there's stupid coaching mistakes, maybe some red zone turnovers, and all of a sudden Baltimore runs away with it. Like, I think scenario 1, but all of those 3 are potential outcomes for this. These teams have a lot of really fun similarities and really good matchups. So first off, the injury side of things. Roquan Smith missed against the Chargers with the hamstring. He's questionable. That's going to be a huge injury to decide this. And then on the Philly side of things, Darius Slay's got the concussion, and then Devonta Smith with the hamstring also. So that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, I would love to know before making the pick, but that's not reality.
It's too bad.
Unfortunately. But dude, here are the key matchups. And I honestly don't know where my pick's going. I think I'm going to say this out loud and then pick it at the end.
I'm going to try to sway you here.
I would love that. First up, we've got Jalen Carter versus the Ravens O-line. Jalen Carter has been just causing mayhem this year. And it's not showing up on the stat sheet, but he's getting double teamed like every play and still getting back there. And he's opening up these lanes for other pass rushers.
It's a big boy.
We know why he fell in the draft. Boy. We know why he fell, but that's still crazy to me that he fell to 9.
Yeah.
Stop racing cars in Georgia.
Right. You just got to know what you're getting with a Georgia player. Like, it is what it is at this point. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And so anyway, he's been nasty, and the Ravens' offensive line has been really bad, especially the right side of it. So that makes me, but
I mean, my man Lamar is dusting Jalen Carter. They're in a race. Doesn't matter.
Is true.
Lamar's out of there.
That is true.
It's true.
So then, second one, the Eagles' running game versus the Ravens' run defense. We've been talking about the Ravens' defense struggling a lot this year. What's overlooked is their run defense hasn't really struggled. It's their pass defense. Their run defense is PFF's third highest graded run defense, second in yards allowed per game at 77.9, which is massive because the Eagles have been averaging 193.4 rushing yards a game.
It's a good bit. It's nice when you have their running back on your fantasy team, for sure.
Oh, which, by the way, you said going into the season, he could be a top 5 running back, and everyone was like, that's
I had him at 3, and I think I might have underestimated, but I was getting roasted for it, so, whatever.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's going to be interesting. This will actually lead into the next one, but if Roquan Smith's out, that's going to be a big blow to the Ravens' run defense. I think that also then requires Kyle Hamilton to come down and be more involved in the run game, which opens things up for the passing game, which then leads to the quarterback comparison. Obviously, this matchup it's important in this game. It's important in every game. I think most of the time I give this to Lamar. He feels more consistent, but last game, he missed so many passes early high. Even the touchdown that he had right before half, that I didn't love the throw or the placement. If the DB had any idea where that ball was, that's picked probably half the time.
Right.
So the flip side of it is Jalen Hurts is so streaky. Like you never, I mean.
So who you going? That's the real question.
Dude.
That's what we're all waiting for. Who you got? Which bird you flying with? Got 2 of them.
It's a head and heart decision right now.
Who has the better quarterback? Who has the better running back?
I'm glad you're trying to bait me into this because it's
I'm not
work.
baiting you into anything.
These are
questions we're asking.
Last thing, I can't believe I didn't even say this. The fact that we've got 2 running backs that are washed in this game. How fun is it? The number 1 and number 2 running backs coming into this are Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. And Derrick Henry, both of them are at over 1,309, or Saquon's at 1,392, Derrick Henry's at 1,325, and Josh Jacobs is third at 944.
Yeah. Dudes are
crazy.
They were washed before the season started.
Yeah, they're washed, though. Okay, pick time. Ravens are destroying themselves on penalties. Eagles have been playing so much better going into this game that everything in me says you should go with Philadelphia. But there's just something about Lamar that I think he's going to pull it out. Like the Ravens need it more. Right now they're trailing in the division. The Eagles are up right now. They're going for the number 1 seed with Detroit. But I'm going to go with the Ravens in this game.
All right. I did my job. I wanted the Eagles.
I want the Ravens to win, and that's why I went with them. I think the Eagles is a great pick.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a good game. But I do agree. I think it could go either way, just like you said. But I'm hoping for a good game as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one.